What's up everybody, Anthony here with Empire Music. Today we're checking out the brand new limited edition Fender Blu DeTiger jazz bass in the Player Plus lineup. I'm going to go over some of the specs, some of the sounds. Let's check it out. What's up everybody, Anthony here, Empire Music, empiremusic.com, showing you the limited edition Fender Player Plus /X Blu DeTiger jazz bass. Very cool bass that just came through from Fender. There's been a ton of social media content already around it, being that it is Blu DeTiger's signature bass. If you're not familiar with who she is, very, very good bass player, very good singer, writes catchy pop music, keeps the bass kind of forefront right underneath the vocals. I wouldn't say she's a virtuoso from a soloist perspective, but man, she can groove. She plays some really nice stuff, and I think really becoming an important figure in kind of the ethos of bass. I'm a bass nerd, man. I follow all that stuff. Like, it's very rare that anyone comes around that at least I'm not checking out. Whether I end up liking them or not, that's a different story. But I try to be very aware of bassists out there. And when she kind of came on the scene, I thought, man, like she's doing it right. You know, she has the really good-looking content, meaning like her social media, the influencer kind of look on that is there. And I think I'm saying that in a very good way. But she also backs it up musically. Like, she can hang. Like, she writes really good stuff. And I love that bass is a focal point of the music, and she's talked about that in her interviews. Well, this bass tonally sets you right up for that. You really can hear her kind of DNA as far as a player on this bass, even like different techniques. I kind of looking at her videos throughout the years, I've always kind of felt like she has I could be totally wrong about this. I feel like she has a lighter attack. This bass and these pickups on that and some of the features on this fit that perfectly, and that sound kind of translates over regardless of your playing technique or the sound that you're after. This has a pretty good kind of thumbprint right away, right out of the box, which is cool. We'll go over some of the specs. A lot of the stuff I like on it. There's a few things on this that I wouldn't say I dislike, but there's certain things that with my playing style, I definitely made notice of it. If you've ever talked to me, or I've said this in videos, like I'm blissfully unaware sometimes on instruments as far as like nut width and radius and neck shape and things like that. There were two things on this bass, and we'll get into it, that I was quickly aware of, and I'm not saying that in a good or bad way, just things that kind of stuck out to me. So some of the specs. Chambered ash body, I think, is a big tonal point on this. Weight point, it's lightweight. And this was one of the heavier ones we had, and it's still super light. I didn't weigh it, but one of them was like 8 pounds 2 ounces or 8 pounds 4 ounces when I weighed them, because we got 3 of them in. So super lightweight, well balanced too. the mirror pick guard on there. You have active electronics in there, so 18-volt battery on there. Although it's light, you wouldn't even think about that there is two 9-volt batteries in there, which does come into play when you talk about the overall weight of an instrument. Volume, pickup panning, stack knobs here, treble and bass, mid-range control, and then a flip switch here. That goes between your active and passive mode. I will say this, and I said this about the Player Pluses when they come out, when they came out, and it goes back to lacking a tone control in the passive mode. I think a bass like this, same thing I said with Player Pluses, these are made to be used in the active mode. Passive mode's great to have. It's a fail-safe. It's a safety net. You're on a gig, the battery dies, flip it to passive, go turn your amp up, you're good to go. But I think a bass like this really excels in the active engaged on it. You get some really nice tonal sculpting, combine that with the chambered body, and then these pickups, Fireball pickups in there. They're a little on the hot side. I think that is good from the angle of, since I believe she is like a little bit lighter of an attack player, that helps bring that along. Me as a heavier handed one, and I'll showcase this bridge pickup, for me, can get a little bit too aggressive when I start to dig in. Curable, fixable, just have to like mentally note that I need to kind of lay off technique wise. That's something I just made note of. Bound neck, 66C profile on it, 1.5 inches at the nut, rosewood board. Vintage tall frets, matching head cap, looks beautiful on it. It's just a really, really good looking bass. It's a good playing bass, good feeling bass, enjoyable really right out of the box. So I always like to talk about, recently I've been talking about it, setup wise. Came in, a little bit of high action. All three that came through I noticed had a little bit of high action. This particular one was a breeze to set up, top adjust truss rod, so headstock adjust, wouldn't have to take the neck off on it. I did probably a little more than a quarter turn, dialed it right in, perfect plan for me, right kind of where I like it. Now, the vintage tall frets feel small to me. I made note of that when I was playing it. Again, kind of unaware sometimes, but I did notice that on this instrument. I've said this before too, bound necks mess with me. The bound fretboard thing, I don't know what it is. It visually plays a trick on me. It's not good or bad. I own basses with bound necks on them. It's just something, so like I'm a little bit more aware when I start playing on a bound neck. And I think the frets kind of stuck out to me because of that, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, it's just me. And then, as I said, the bridge pickup, hot. And when I played back here, it got a little bit too aggressive. Another thing that I noticed, and this was kind of the biggest thing, since this is a chambered body, keeps the weight down, but when I was playing with fingerstyle, didn't notice. When I started doing some slap stuff, I'll turn some volume down here. I'm just showing that, hearing that. Because this is chambered underneath the pick guard, I noticed acoustically something just different about it. It's not good or bad, I just noticed it, which is I've played chambered instruments before and I didn't notice that. So that was something that just stuck out to me. And then this is another thing, and a good reason why you should shop at a place like Empire Music, right? And it's this particular model, this particular bass, this exact bass. In doing that, I wanted to see what was underneath here. Was it like totally hollowed out? And we'll put some pictures on the screen that I took to kind of show you what it looks like with that pick guard off, right? But I did notice these pick guard screws, one, two, three. I think these three were not screwing all the way in because you're in that chambered part of the body. There wasn't enough wood for those to grab onto. Now, you shouldn't be taking the pick guard off very often, if ever, on your instrument. I don't think it's an issue. I checked the other two instruments to see if that was a recurring thing. Was not. They were perfect. So, again, just a kind of an aside there, something to watch out for with this bass. I don't think it's hopefully it's not going to be an ongoing issue with those things stripping out. But this bass is going to go back to Fender. And the other two are still going to be there in perfect shape. But pretty interesting to see. There's a little hole right here that goes in the CNC machine whenever they're like doing some of the routing on the body. and carving it, but it's really hollowed out. It keeps the weight down, and you can hear where that sounds solid, and then you can hear where it gets hollowed out. And it's really prevalent right there. And it was like, it felt soft to me, like it was trampoline effect sort of off my hand. I would get used to that in a second. It was just one thing that I noted. One thing I just want to call out to our viewers out there, if you're interested in the space, it's just something to think about. Again, great reason to shop at a place like Empire Music, because we're going to go over all the stuff. We're going to do a factory setup on it, make sure that there are no issues with the instrument, but did just want to call that out. So let's dive into some of the sounds. I do have some pedals down here. MXR bass envelope filter, another MXR, analog chorus, and the Earthquaker devices, ledges for some reverb. Blu DeTiger plays, she does great use. Her use of an envelope filter, other than maybe Ida Nelson, like is really, really good. I think Ida's is so funky, and I like Blu DeTiger. She's not as funky as Ida Nelson, man. That girl is a freak on like some funk stuff. But so I have those pedals on here. We'll check it out. So let's go wide open. I have the EQ over here set totally flat, right? So middle, mids, treble, and bass all at the detent middle position. Real quick, I mean, I was already long-winded at the intro there, so what's another few sentences on it? I noticed the chambered body sonically in this, and it's nice. Like, it sounds warm. It has a depth to it that you just don't get typically out of jazz basses. And I hear where that chambered body adds this low mids. And I'll just flip it into passive mode. You'll hear a pretty substantial gain drop. Back to active, so that's going to boost back in. That tone, I believe what we're getting from the combination of the pickups, but a lot of that's coming from this chambered body here, is nice. And it's nice with a pick too, because like we're keeping some of that warmth from the chambered body, but we're adding like the brightness just attack wise on what we're choosing to hit the strings with. And that with chorus, my favorite sounds, especially when we palm mute it. And that chorus with a pick just sounds really, really nice. Plus, I've been listening to the live Steve Conn record with Dennis Chambers and Anthony Jackson. Can't remember the name of it. Spyglass or something like that. It's from like '96 or something. And Anthony just, like the chorus pick thing, obviously playing extended range bass. It's like stuck in my head the past few days. What an awesome record. If you get a chance, check out that Steve Conn record. destroys. Dennis Chambers sounds amazing on it, but cool sound. So now front pickup. So we're gonna go into like sort of P-bass territory now. Again, that chambered body where it's mellowing out some of the highs speaks really well for faking its way into that P territory. Man, it is. It's just, it is a naturally warm sounding bass. It's fun to play, man. It is pretty organic sounding. Just to compare and contrast that, here's your wide open position. Neck position. Still has that snap that a single coil gives you, but it's nice. And then bridge position. So you're gonna hear how kind of hot this thing gets. I'm not gonna dig in too hard, but it's really, really mid-rangey. I really gotta watch my attack with that, just because it is a hot pickup. Now, I noticed too, she plays a lot sometimes, at least from what I interpret, with that, I feel like getting that nasally kind of sound, I mean that in a cool way, that burpy nasally thing out of the bridge pickup, but playing up here. Really cool with some chorus on it. That's cool. I don't normally play that there, but like it's fun to get into a different bass with a different pickup configuration than you're used to, because I wouldn't even think to do that. And I'm not saying it's wrong to do that. It's just kind of not in my toolkit as far as how I play. But with that hotter pickup back there, it's easy to get that sort of sound. I always feel like you lose kind of something when you move that far away from the active pickup. But here, you don't get that. It's pretty cool. And then we'll go and just hear wide open with some envelope filter on it too. Very cool sound. And for this, let's boost a little bit of bass, little bit of treble. We'll kind of scoop the mids out. We'll do that classic kind of scoop thing out. Just roll that front pickup on was a cool tone I had when I was warming up too. Very cool. Plays with those pedals very, very well. Now, chorus. Let's get a little, not crazy with it, but let's really boost up some mids. I had that envelope filter on. Put a little reverb on it. We're gonna roll back to that neck pickup or bridge pickup, not all the way, just a bit. We're gonna boost the mids. I'm gonna cut treble off. Let me see where that gets us. It's nice to hear that clarity out of something as rich sounding as this bass. So it's kind of fun to put it through the paces, and just to kind of go back to square one there. Wide open, everything flat. Total jazz bass there, you know what I mean? But with this kind of like her sort of signature sound on it. It's cool. So, fun bass to play, well made. Again, if I was calling out anything on it, I would just want people to be aware. Underneath here is very chambered out. We just want to make sure that none of these screws end up being stripped out for you. Again, a reason to shop at Empire Music. We're very hands-on here. Call me at the shop, 412-343-5299. You can email me directly. It's anthony@empiremusic.com. Make sure we're getting you the bass in perfect condition, at least when it leaves here. Whatever UPS might do, it's a different story sometimes. We have very rare instances of that. But yeah, so it's good to shop at a place like that, or a place like us. Cool specs. Again, if I was calling anything, it would just be that pick guard thing. This bridge pickup's hot, but I think that's in a good way. You just have to kind of keep in mind that that can get a little bit aggressive to you. But sonically, very versatile, can do a whole lot, plays with pedals great. So, Blu DeTiger, signature Player Plus jazz bass from Fender. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.